Okie dokie. So it'll probably take a second to tick over to live, but hello if you're watching the replay. We are back. It's been a while in this format.
It has.
Yeah. So we are going to be talking about Sanctuary by Ilona Andrews, which we'll see if I pronounce everything properly because
Beloved Ilona Andrews.
You're going to do better than me. Don't worry about it.
So hi to Francesca and Julie. Hello, hello.
Hey.
That was really early, huh?
No. I was still filming at 9:30.
That's funny.
Alrighty. So this came out, what, 2 weeks ago?
It came out July 30th.
So yeah, about 2. About 2 weeks ago.
I was really surprised because I got the audio. I think I remember messaging you guys going, the audio arc is turned up in my NetGalley.
Yes.
I didn't even remember requesting it. I clearly did, but I did not.
I love that you, as a Ilona Andrews influencer, got the arc.
And,
so proud of you.
How many times have I listened to it since then? 4.
I love this.
And I've read the book 5 times. So
unhinged behavior.
Well, it's been that kind of 2 weeks. I do wish it was longer, but I'm hoping that it means we'll get more shorter books than having to wait for.
I'm hoping that either that or this is like an intro book, and then like the next book is a long book.
Right.
Yeah. I was thinking just before, I actually like it as the first book in a series, and I mean, having knowledge of the Kate Daniels universe, I think it's important for the book, but I think it stands well enough on its own as an introductory to the character that you don't have to have read anything else to read it.
The world is pretty self-explanatory. Obviously, I think you'll care more if you already love Roman.
Yeah.
But it does work on its own.
Yeah. I know. And I'm just so glad he's got his own book.
Me too.
I'm so thrilled.
I need, when there's another book, I just need it more focused on his crazy family being involved.
His family is awesome. I love them.
Every time they pop up, I'm just like, this is great. I forgot how crazy this family was.
I love his family issues. They're so funny.
It's so good.
It's Romans Chronicles #1, so I do feel pretty confident we'll get more. Who has COVID?
I'm assuming Ilona.
Oh, yes, they do.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, that's devastating.
Yeah.
As a person who just got over COVID, that sucks.
Yeah, my favorite thing is everyone being like, let's just send all our children to school sick. Meanwhile, half the staff is out with COVID. Like, can you just keep your unwell children at home, please?
Spouse's sister, who's a school teacher, she was like, oh, I tested positive for COVID, but I don't feel bad. And I'm like, yeah, you still can't go.
Yeah.
Like,
there's so much misinformation spread around. Like, it's wild. We could literally talk for 3 hours about that alone.
But that's not what the live show is. The live show is Sanctuary.
It is not the live show.
Are we doing it chronologically, or are we just bouncing?
I wanted to say that somewhere on the internet, pretty sure I was making fun of Megan, probably. I mean, that checks out.
Quite frequent.
Where I said that, I think I said you were delusional if you thought we were going to ever get a Roman book. Like, I was like, that's never going to happen. Like, I hope it does, but it's never going to happen. And I'm here to eat my words.
Yep.
And I'm happy about it.
Vindication.
I really did not think there was any chance that we'd get it. And yet here we are.
Someone's going to like go through all of our lives and find it.
With a Christmas book in July, no less.
Yes.
Perfect.
It is true. I don't mind how we go through it. I did just want to mention, like, I was really grateful for all of the notes about that they included in this book as well. It's not in the audiobook, but
there was a note in the audiobook that said they had notes in the ebook.
Yeah, so they had a glossary and gods and mythology and just sort of a breakdown of some of the things that are mentioned, but also the notes on the Vasilisa and Baba Yaga as well. So
I must have missed them.
Yeah. So I enjoyed that. I thought that was an interesting little thing to include. I do love Roman and his creatures. The Colaversi are my favorite. So much so that I got the mug with the Colaversi on it.
I love it.
It's such a cute merch item. It really is.
I wanted the t-shirt, but they didn't sell the t-shirt in the Australian, well, the store that ships to Australia. So I'm kind of devastated. That sucks.
You can order it the long way around, and one of us. I know. I'm just.
Yeah. This is perfect for me. I'm reading it in the middle of winter. It's been freezing every time I've read the book.
Oh, that's true. It is winter for you. I always forget that you're in a completely different hemisphere.
Yeah. It's nice and sunny today, but that's not what it's been like for the last couple of weeks. So, yeah. Do we want to start with a summary of the book for anyone who might be watching who has no idea what we're talking about?
So if you have no idea what we're talking about, then you have a lot of live shows to catch up on, because it all started with Kate Daniels.
It did. True story. What book does Roman turn up in Kate Daniels? I probably should have looked this up. Is it 2 or 3?
I don't know.
I think it's 2 or 3, because the witch oracles turn up in 1, like right off the bat. And
are the witch oracle in book? I thought they were in book 2.
They might be book 2. So that means that he turns up in 3 or 4.
1. Yeah. Book 1, I think the only ones that we're introduced to are Kate, the Order, the vampires, and the Pack. We're introduced to all of them.
Because Julie is in book 2, and you meet Baba Yaga when you meet Julie.
Yes. So book 2.
So you meet him in 3 or 4. Because you don't meet Roman until after.
Yeah. I just remember the first time we meet Cluve, the stick, and how much trouble it causes.
I love it. I love it so much. And the voles.
I don't remember well, so there's.
And then I just love when Kate finds out that they're related, and then he's just like,
I know.
That's a weird family.
People, because that reveal is so good in Kate Daniels. That's why I said I think that you should know who Roman's family is before you read this book, because it's such a good reveal.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna start coughing. What was I gonna say? This is how my brain is working at the moment, so good luck. I think I was trying to place where this was in the timeline as well, because Roman's 34 in this.
Yeah, that's what they said. He's 34. He's 34. He's getting gray hair. Why doesn't he have kids?
But I kind of like that we got little snippets of his past when he was in the military and things like that, because it was brought up in one of the Kate Daniels books. But I think just him being so jaded and cynical at the start of the book, I quite enjoyed that part of his development of character in the book, I suppose.
We never did do the synopsis. Are we doing the synopsis?
So this book is about Roman, a dark vole, the priest, and he gets an unexpected visitor in the form of mercenaries and a teenage boy and his dog. And then
the teenage boy asks for sanctuary.
The teenage boy asks for sanctuary. Hey, that's the name of the book. And then the vast majority of the book is just him protecting this boy.
While trying to figure out who the boy is and why the mercenaries
and trying to figure out who wants him. Because they keep disturbing him, and the whole time his god is also tormenting him.
Yeah.
Even though it's his days off. He's like, it's my day off. I get 3 days a year. And his god went, I don't care.
Yeah.
Pull this tree for me.
Because his god is having a spat with his wife.
Which is hilarious.
It's so funny. Actually, I really like that part because Chernobog isn't even really a big part of this story because it's more Marina's
He's mentioned
story.
all the time.
He's mentioned all the time, but he's not actually
in it.
It's more Roman kind of talking to himself, going, "Why? Why are you doing this to me?
I don't want to pull your stupid tree."
So the whole thing starts because Roman wakes up and he's pulling this tree in Nav, which is
the
one of the
Slavic underworld, basically.
Yeah, and he kind of comes to consciousness, like whenever he ends up in there. If he goes there voluntarily, he's almost immediately conscious. But if his god pulls him in during dreaming, it takes him a while to figure out that he's there. And so the book starts with him just coming to and realizing that that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he's rather annoyed because he doesn't like the holiday season. And we don't figure out why until a little bit later on. And that was just, that part got me. But yes, Roman shouting at the sky. That was pretty funny. Yes.
Yeah.
I think so, because I
was thinking that.
At some point I would like a timeline, but maybe that would be a later thing.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. But I also I like the discussion around the different holidays, but I also like that the Colaversi, so they're the little tiny critters, were making a Christmas tree.
Yes.
That was cute.
They're so cute.
And I also liked that when he was talking about them, particularly when he was introducing them to Finn, he, even though he doesn't necessarily like all of the creepy critters that surround him, he's compassionate towards all of them.
Yeah. I do like Roro, basically the cat who bit through the door, and he was like, well, shoot.
Basically, she's like a wombat. Because she's like the one that, isn't that the one that basically can just get through anything, and once she gets started, she's unstoppable.
Yeah.
That's basically a wombat. But also the Malalo.
She's like a cat, but not.
Yeah.
Is what he said.
Yeah, but even the Malalo, which is the one that he doesn't like.
Is that the one with the one dead head?
Yeah. And that was, I forget what religion it was, because he kept telling it, you're not even Slavic. Go back to your people. Yeah. So I like that.
I'm wondering if we get a later book, if something's going to happen with that bird.
Yeah, I would imagine so. They spent a lot of time talking about it, so I'll be surprised if we didn't get more information on it.
Yeah.
I really liked all the booby traps and stuff that he had in his yard, and his skeleton hands and everything. I thought that we were going to get this snake. Wasn't it one of, what's the god's name?
Chernobog?
Yeah.
Wasn't it his giant snake that they were messing with in one of the Kate Daniels? Didn't Roman do something with the snake when they were, or were they killing the snake? I don't know.
Was it when they were going to ask him to get married? To get him to marry them?
No.
When they went to his place?
Isn't there one where there's a giant fight with a pyramid and snakes type thing? It's not actually that, but I feel like that's my mental picture of it.
No, I think I know what you're talking about. I can't remember if that was, probably was, but I feel like Roman's defenses on his property, he's collected things,
right?
Or they've come to him. The creatures just kind of wander into his.
Well, when the scorpion thing came, right? It was a scorpion thing.
Yeah, it was like an underground scorpion thing.
I was expecting the giant snake, but it wasn't. It was a scorpion. So that's why I don't know if my memory is completely flipped them, where it wasn't Roman snake in the first place.
I guess too.
Well, if it was one of Chernobog's creatures, or if it was a creature from Narb, he might have been able to call it for that situation. But maybe the scorpions were the ones that were on his property,
right?
Because he talks a lot about things under the ground, feeding and resting and
Right.
being annoyed, called on. I did like the skeleton hands as the
Same.
shield.
I
That
also
was
I
really
like how Chernobog kind of treats him like a son.
Yeah.
Like he's
Well, do we-
like he made him laugh. He's like, "You're my Vole." It was very cute. I was like, "Oh."
I also like that it talks about how the dark god is not an evil god necessarily. He's
Oh
viewed
yeah.
as an evil god. But the reality is he's just a different side of the coin, right? You have to have
Yeah.
winter, you have to have darkness, you know. You have to
Yeah,
have
I like that he also went into there's two different or there's different types of beliefs where there is one where it's like Christianity style where it's like good and evil, and then this one is like good and evil, but it's more like life, death, and balance between them, and I like that.
Mhm.
it's a better way of looking at it, and I liked when he was explaining the difference between all of the different lands and the fact that Nav is the last point before chaos, and it's actually chaos that's the unpredictable side of things. So really,
Mhm.
Bog and Marina and all of the gods that live there are the things that are between them and monsters equivalent.
Yeah.
Like, and that was a good perspective.
I liked how he talked to the teen boy about it too.
Yeah.
Especially with him kind of struggling with like winter being over and people, you know, pretending to kill the goddess and stuff.
Yeah.
And Roman was just like, "Hey, it's okay."
Yeah.
All right.
She's not worried about it.
Right. And also, you don't have to be worried to serve her. That doesn't make you evil. You're important, just like, you know, all the other parts of the world.
Yeah. And I think it was interesting because it's not often that I come, like even in paranormal romance, come across books with Slavic traditions or religion or whatever in it. So that was really interesting to actually spend more time with it, because we got hints of it in Kate Daniels because they try and dip into everything.
Yeah.
But to actually have more information. And that's why I kind of like the information at the back of the book as well, because it just goes, oh, okay. Like I've heard little bits and pieces over time, but now I get to put it together. And even though they've, you know, in their author's note, they said, you know, it's hard to pull things together because there's not that much recorded history for it. We've tried to piece together what we could that fits in with our world.
Yeah.
And I think it's a nice way to explore it.
Yeah, they also talked about what is it, the Neo Vikings, and he's just like, ugh, the Neo Vikings.
That part cracks me up so much every time they show up.
I know.
Yeah. Because everyone's just like, ugh, you guys again. Okay.
So funny. And then I liked I forgot what his name, the Magi dude. The one who had the blindfold and
same. Fahang.
Yeah, I liked him, and his spirit was just like, hey, you can see me. I haven't been able to talk to people in 3 years. Please let me stay with you.
I promise. I just want company. And I also liked his neighbors as well. The druid was hilarious.
Yeah.
And his quick exit when Evdokia turned up as well.
Good.
See ya. It actually took me, the first time I read the book, I didn't make the connection, and I'm sure we'll talk about Andorra in a minute, but I didn't make the connection that his neighbor was one of the kids in the class with him and Andorra. He was the one who was basically immune to all the spells.
Okay.
It took me that long. I'm like, how did I miss that? But also the neighbor who was magically spelling booby traps in his yard. And Roman's like, damn it, now I owe him money.
I just like how Roman is so cantankerous and grumpy, but also just a very caring and compassionate man. So, you know, he's one of those grumps that's fun because he's gonna complain the whole way there, but he's also gonna risk life and limb for you, you know?
Yep. I mean, he spent the entire book being dirty that they drank his eggnog and ate his cookies.
Right.
I do like when Andorra first showed up and he's like, oh, she's pretty, and then she's like, I hate you. You made my life hell. And he's like, do we know each other? And then
Yeah,
it's like,
that was
it's
great.
elementary school. What gets me is it's elementary school. Like, she held that grudge.
Mhm.
This girl held that grudge
Mhm.
Look,
for like
good on
over
her, and
20 years.
I can't wait for her to see what it is that she wants to collect from him.
Mhm.
I'm really
And
excited to get to see more of them.
I'm
They
just
had a fun
Right.
dynamic. I liked it.
like,
Yeah.
I hold grudges. I don't know if I could hold a grudge for over 20 years.
Also, have what other that aren't shorts? What else have we gotten that's from one of the men's point of view? And
The one about
The Edge.
what's his
The Edge had
face?
okay, the
Didn't
Edge.
what was it? The one I didn't like, Iron and Magic or whatever. Didn't that one have
Yeah,
Yes,
huge.
him?
okay, that's true. Yeah,
That
I
that was
like
all his point of view for the most part.
seeing the men's
Yeah.
POV for the whole book as a change of pace. I don't think
Yeah.
I'd like that for all of the books, but I like
Yeah.
it for.
Yeah, because I think that one was all his point of view, wasn't it? Or at least most of his point of view.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah. Well, I could probably read a full-length book from Roman's point of view. I like his personality.
For
I
sure.
I do like whenever it goes into Curtin's point of view sometimes, though, because
Yeah,
it just makes me laugh.
I do too. I like that in the Wilmington years we're getting alternating POVs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because they have. I mean, they do this so well, but they have them as very distinct voices. So like you can
Mhm.
just the way Kate thinks is written differently than the way Curran
Right,
thinks, and I like the way Roman thinks. It's all very they're all very different people.
right.
Yeah.
Plus, at this point, we've known them both for so long.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't think I'd want to I mean, I'd be happy with just Kate's POV, but I really like having both. And I'm curious, because it seems like uh basically what they do is if there's one character that you already know and then they're introducing new characters, you have the POV of the character you already know regardless of gender. Um so I'm like I like seeing what's her face through his eyes and everything,
Mhm.
and I'm curious what we'll do. I think it's called the Romans Chronicles, so I think it'll just be his POV.
I mean, they set up a lot of stuff too, so we know it's probably going to go on for a while. I'm just wondering if this was like an intro novella to get into like long novels, or if it's all going to be short. Because that's what they've been doing recently,
Right.
isn't it? Because the
I would
Wilmington years have been short too.
Right. I would bet short, but who knows with them. They've got that fantasy romance coming out in 2026.
Is that
Yeah.
the one? Is that which one's the one that
Aggie
takes place
Hill.
in fantasy world, but from Austin? The isekai one. Is that the one we're talking about?
What?
There's the an isekai one about a girl who was like from Austin and then gets transported into a fantasy world.
What is isekai?
A person who gets transported from the real world into a fantasy world.
A portal fantasy?
There
Yeah.
was one like that,
Megan,
right?
Megan,
Aggie
you're
the
using fancy words, and we're very
I'm
confused.
using manga words is the
Yeah.
issue.
is
Yes.
They would
coming
know what I'm
out.
talking about.
They had talked about it, about how they've written it and they were going to try and shop it to publishers.
Yes. Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
got picked up, so it's coming out in 2026.
Oh, is that
Yeah.
so? We're both talking about the same book.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was checking.
You're talking about Ilona Andrews, right? A book that hasn't come out, right?
I'm talking about a book that has not come out. Correct. Yes.
From Ilona Andrews. Yeah, we're
Yes.
on the same page.
Okay. Cool.
Just on this note, jumping off what you were saying before about the Wilmington years and the dual POV, like the original Kate Daniels books were very much Kate's journey, whereas the Wilmington
Mhm.
years is very much their family journey, which
Absolutely.
wouldn't work from one perspective, from one point of view. So I think
Right.
maybe the next book will determine the direction that the Roman Chronicles take, in which
Mhm.
case we would find, because I think they're very good at picking when something has to be a single point of view or
Mhm.
dual multiple point of view,
Mhm.
because the Edge series wouldn't have worked from one character's
Right.
point of view.
Mhm.
None of those books would have worked from one of the characters' point of views, whereas Kate Daniels really did. and clean sweep, and the Innkeeper Chronicles works from Dina's point of view.
Yeah, because it's about her inn. It all revolves around her inn.
Yeah.
Right, exactly, because those are truly the main characters of this series, whereas The Edge and even, Hidden Legacy, you have different main characters throughout
So
the
look,
series.
if they decided to do like a Midnight Sun style with the books from Curran's point of view, I would not be mad about it.
Are you kidding me? I would read it all.
So good.
As
Especially because
evidence in this live, I already can't remember half of what happened, so I'd be like, "Oh my god, I have never read this before in my life. This is wild."
Also, because it looks like there's a lot going on behind the scenes that doesn't matter to Kate because she's not in the pack. And I was like, it would be more politics, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
Than like action, but it'd still be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would eat it up, take my money. Thank you, Julie. I'm glad I'm not alone.
Yeah, you don't even have to tell me what it is. Just Ilona Andrews has something.
As long as it says Ilona Andrews, I'm there. They are my, like, without hesitation, I will pick up and read this book.
Absolutely. The gold standard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was going to say, I really liked getting Raman's history and how he came to be the Black Volve as well, and just seeing how that played out with his family, and it was interesting. So going, okay, yeah, I totally don't excuse Raman turning Andora's hair into snakes and whatever, but you've got a loaded gun of a character with magical ability who is under pressure, and we all know what happens when that goes off, and just the history with his brother, and
also he was a kid, which is even like harder.
Not even just a kid, but he literally had no control. It was not malicious intent, even as a child, which it would be understandable if you were a little brat and you grew out of it, but that wasn't actually even the case for him.
And part of it being that, he, like, Chernobog picked him from when he was like 2 or 3 years old.
Yeah.
That's when he'd already made the decision. And the fact that the family, with best intentions in mind, but not thinking about the consequences of it, tried to prevent that and then didn't believe him when he was talking about it. And just having his brother.
I don't know how much you guys know about the Bible, but it reminds me of King David when he was being picked, and also Jacob and what's Esau. That's another thing where, like, God picked one son and the parents were like, it can't be that son. That's incorrect.
That's not how it's working.
We any influence on that or not.
Yeah.
Since we know that they also incorporate Bible mythology into the other mythologies as well.
Yeah. I did like when Finn was like, 1, I'm not even Slavic, and 2, like, I don't want to be this chosen person, and Roman's like, that's why you were picked.
Welcome to the club, bud. Welcome to the club.
Like, it's like the people who really want the power are not going to get the power.
Shouldn't have the power specifically. Even.
Yeah. The gods might be petty, but they're not stupid.
Yeah. Most of the time.
Like, all of that, I really believe. I think if you are power hungry, you are the worst possible person to have power, Yeah. That's just my opinion, which is why with politicians and stuff, even like just presidents, let's say, it's like, I don't know, like, you're not becoming president if you are actually the best option. Because that person's not running for president.
Yeah.
And they're not getting the support that they need to be on the ballot. Like, you only get on the ballot by playing the political game that exists.
I would not want to be a politician.
Kill me now.
I also liked on that note around when Andorra turns up and she's just like, basically, Finn, you have to pick. It doesn't matter which way you pick. You can say no or you can say yes, but you have to make a decision, because not making a decision now impacts on everyone else around you.
Mhm. Yeah, I really liked her.
Yeah, I
I
did
did.
too.
She was
I
a
also
good
like how Roman was like, your sister's like, I don't know what they were called, a
Vasilisa.
visage or whatever. Yeah.
Vasilisa.
And she's like, was that important? And I was like, I feel like that probably was. My sister is a great, powerful being is probably an important thing to say.
Yeah. She is the chosen of the gods. All the gods talk to her, and she has a lot of power. Yeah, might be useful
Yeah,
information
it
to
might
know.
be a little important. Like, it was
But
such a teenage thing. It's like, oh, was that important?
it's such a teenage thing to be like, that's my
Yeah,
sister.
whatever.
That's the relevant information, is my sister's coming to pick me up.
Right? Not
And
like
I
how
love,
my sister or how she could have even.
yeah, and I like that. Like they have the definition of the two styles of Vasilisa, so the wise, the beautiful, and Roman asks, he's like, dude, that's my sister. Like, that wasn't what he was asking.
Yeah,
But it's
is
such
she the
a
wise
teenage
or the beautiful? And he's just like, ew, that's my
Ew.
sister. Like, don't look at her like that. So funny.
It was great.
Oh. And
It's good.
yes,
It's good.
which I suppose leads us to our bad guys, the unknown, creepy alien
Yeah,
magic people.
Mm-hmm.
the unknown circle of life, but not circle of life people.
Yeah, I don't know. I was trying to work it out. I have no idea what we're
Oh,
gonna
I
get with.
do like when Finn. I'm sorry, I keep like interrupting. My brain is just like bouncing.
You're good.
When they're trying to figure out what that symbol is, and Roman's like, okay, it's time to figure it out. And Finn's like, what are we gonna do? And he's like, study. He's like, wait, what do you mean we're gonna study? He's like, it's most of what we do here. I don't know what you're expecting.
We're gonna read books.
And the kid's just like, why do I need to learn any religion other than my own? And it's like, well, because there's more than one God.
And and also, what was it? Oh, the druid being there as well. And I actually like they did a lot of really good explanation, I think, of religion when we talked a lot about it earlier. But even talking about how you can stick a bunch of druids in the same room and they may not agree with each other, but if you hurt a tree, you're going to find out how quickly they'll band against you.
Yeah.
I love what Julie said. They've acquired another dog from the honeycomb.
I was so happy when that dog made it in to the
I know.
house.
Same.
Because
Tate had to kill the first one, right?
Yeah.
the dog was the smartest character in that entire sequence,
For real.
trying to lay siege to Roman's house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love how they kept going, he's just a priest. Like, what are you doing? It shouldn't be this hard. And then he just keeps murdering all of them. And then they just keep coming back with more people. And I'm like, at some point, y'all just gotta like cut your losses, man.
Yeah, they were they're the Neo Vikings. They dug their heels in.
Well,
Neo Vikings in New Valhalla. Ugh.
Yeah. But speaking of the dog from the honeycomb, I liked how was it? I can't remember which of the Colaversi it was. One of them just walked up and smacked its nose.
Yeah.
So, stop it! No hazing.
Right. The mercenaries digging their heels in and getting themselves killed is the opposite coin of Kate Daniels and shows exactly what he was trying to show Finn, that knowing the context of other religions and other gods and knowing what is so valuable. Kate has always, that's something I've always liked in her books, is how she recognizes, what this creature is from or what this person is, and how to combat it and how to pacify it. She knows whether to piss someone off or not.
Knowledge is power.
Right. And you see it in other battles too, but in this one specifically, is like you just really don't know what you're dealing with, and you're making dumb mistakes based
You're
on this.
costing people's lives.
Right. And they even tried to do recon, you know, they went to his neighbors and everything, but shouldn't have. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what would happen if you went to my neighbors? They'd say, "Who's that?"
Same. That's literally what I was gonna say. I'm a bad neighbor, let me tell you.
I'm a bad neighbor.
I don't do anything, obviously. Like, I'm not like a problem child, but I couldn't
I'm
tell
not
you any
neighborly.
names. I don't make eye contact.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
don't
did
In and
one
out.
time, one of my neighbors, like one of my next door neighbors, was outside checking the mail, and I literally drove around the block one more time so that I did not have to interact with my neighbor.
Okay, I can go one better. I live on a floor with 7 apartments. I recognize people from 2 of the apartments. One set are grandparents of kids at the school that I work at, so
Mhm.
I recognize them. And also, one of my students lives in the building.
Mhm.
But I will 100% walk into my building, see people waiting for the lift, and walk right back out. Like, I'll come back. There's no one there.
Yep.
That's
Or I'll take
hysterical.
the stairs. Or I'll take the stairs if I feel like I can manage the stairs that day.
Yep.
You're so
I'm like,
funny.
no, I don't need to talk to my neighbors.
Well, see, I would get in the elevator, but I wouldn't talk to anybody.
I do that on occasion, but
That's
sometimes
me
I'm like,
too,
I
Julie.
don't want to be stuck in a lift with people.
I did get in an elevator with my coworkers, and there were like random strangers in there as well. But the way it was situated, I like didn't have enough room to turn to face the door, so I was stuck like in the middle facing everyone else. So, in true Megan fashion, I just went, "So you all might be wondering why I've gathered you here today." And my friends are like, "Yeah," my coworkers who know me are like, "Yeah, that's Megan." And then the one random dude just like busted out laughing.
That's so awkward, and then that's like the perfect
That's
thing to
great.
say because it's relevant to it.
Yeah,
Like everyone knows
I
what you
love
mean.
that.
thank you. Yeah, so
It's a good one.
Nice.
yeah. But I'm so awkward that even if I do weird things, it's not suspicious. Because we had like a
Yeah.
birthday surprise for all the like summer babies in the
Mhm.
office, and my office mate is one, and it was like, you need to be at this place by 11:30, but don't tell them. So I was like, hey, you want to go on a walk? And she was like, sure. And then we walk like halfway down the hall. I see that no one's in the room yet, so the room's still getting prepared. So I was like, I just stop, and she's just like, we're not going down this way. And I was like, no, we're not going down this way. And I like 180 turned the other way. And she was like, yeah, I thought you were just being you. I was like, I don't know how to take that, but I guess it's a good thing.
That's funny.
Your
Yeah, she's like, I
your
suspected
reputation
nothing.
precedes
Yeah.
Mhm.
She was
your
like, I suspected
reputation.
nothing.
That's
It does
awesome.
Just
indeed.
make
It does indeed.
regular Megan behavior.
Yeah. She's like, I didn't suspect anything. She's like, I thought it was a little weird, but then I was just like, it's Megan. It's like,
No, I was what was saying before. I made a connection because I'm with rereading the Mary Gentry series. The fact that
Mhm.
Kate is knowledgeable. Like she goes out, she collects knowledge. She knows what she's coming up against,
Mhm.
and it was. I've just gone. Oh, that's actually one of the things I really like about the Mary Gentry series is that Mary
Mhm.
is really well informed about all of the different fairy courts. So thank you.
Right.
I've just made it into my other project.
Right. No, I liked that in Mary Gentry too. That was one of the things because at least in the first book, since I reread it this year, you know, it talks about how her father felt like knowing about the
Yeah.
like knowing was important.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like characters like that.
Yeah.
I do.
So I think
yeah.
like sometimes it can be overdone to the point where you go, okay, well, how does this character know this? But when you have the actual circumstances to go, okay, no, this character needs to know this because it's part of their survival.
Exactly. Exactly. I
If
like
they don't do it, they're going to get killed. So they actually need to learn
right.
and
I
develop
like
that
when it makes sense that a character is that good, because if they weren't that good, they'd already be dead. So the very fact that you are able to follow them is because they're actually that good.
Yeah,
Like,
I
to
think
me, that makes sense.
I like
Yeah.
it the most in Kate Daniels because it's a balance of like it very much looks like at any given time she just runs into danger like half cocked,
Mhm.
but it's like a good balance of no,
And
like
she
she at
does
least thinks she
twisters.
knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she has like a balance of like she knows what she's doing
Right.
Yeah.
most of the time.
And
Yeah.
in Kate Daniels also, you really see the growth of her power, knowledge, and political savvy
Mhm.
throughout the series. And also, you see her make some mistakes. Sometimes she's the one that gets her out of it. Sometimes she'd be dead if someone else hadn't helped her out. You know, she's not perfect the whole way
Mm.
through the series. Even
Yeah.
when it's meeting the pack, you know, she
Mhm.
says right then, like, I've miscalculated, like, I made a mistake and
Oh yeah,
now
like when she controlled Boy Wonder and then
right.
Kurt
Yeah.
was like, "Here's
Yeah.
here's what you did. Here's how it looked to the pack. Here's now your consequences. Here are your
And she
choices."
recognizes her own character flaws that
Mm.
got her into that mess,
Mhm.
and she works on them without ever actually changing as a person. She
Yeah.
works on them throughout the series. She's not gonna keep making the same mistake, even if she keeps having the same Achilles heel, you know?
Mhm.
Because if your temper or your, you know, whatever is a problem for you, it's gonna keep being a problem for you. It's never gonna be just go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you can
It,
certainly, you know, develop a better control.
Mhm.
yeah, it becomes improvement over change.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Ilona Andrews does character growth well. There
Mhm.
are there are people who write that don't. It's like every single book, the person learned nothing by like the beginning of the next book.
Right.
Yeah.
I hate that. That's like 3 steps forward, 3 steps back.
It
Um,
just feels like you're reading the same book over and over again at that point.
exactly. I
Yeah.
don't like when we're starting book 2 or 3 or whatever, when we're starting a multiple book and we have somehow unlearned the lesson that was the whole point of the first book. You
Mhm.
know, the first book, we took this whole character growth journey of, you know, whatever, and then book 2, we pretend like we didn't learn anything. I hate that.
Mm. I think it depends because her growth wasn't necessarily about not running headfirst into things. Her growth was about how she responds
And
when she,
also, she just got older. She found
yeah.
people that she loved, you know?
Yeah.
By the time that we're in the Wilmington years, she's been in a relationship for over a decade, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a mom, all of that. That's gonna change from before you
That
even met your significant other.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like because there's also the other talking about the other side of the coin, books who like the person is a completely different person from like book 1 to book 2. So, like
Right.
instead of integrating the lesson into their character like you would as a
Right,
normal person, they just like they just 180 and they're just like a completely
right.
different person. And you're like,
I
what happened?
was a nobody that had no skills, that just, you know, didn't know that anybody liked me, and now I'm the chosen one, and I have got this. I've got everything, and it's like, "Okay, well, that was quick."
Well, well, I think what's interesting in terms of contrasting characters in this one, so Roman is a much more controlled kind of character. He's less
Mhm.
likely to run into compared to Kate. He's less likely to run into something instinctively, and we get reasons. Part of it is he was in the military. It's part of his training. Part of it's just the circumstances in which he's grown up in. He's had to navigate a family that is completely off the ball, and he like even his lesson that he gets out of this first book was really interesting because even he's like he gets to the end, he's like, oh, okay, I
Right,
see what you did there.
right. But
I do
also
like that his mom was
And
like,
he's like,
haha, full circle, sucks for you, bye.
well, I even liked it when he's face to face with Marina at the end, and she's like, And he's like, it may have taken me like 5 or 6 times, but I can be taught. It's fine.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I also liked that he wasn't actually just a tool in a spat between gods. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I liked how that developed.
Yeah.
I think it spoke a lot to their relationship, all three of them. You know, it spoke a
Yeah.
lot to that.
Yeah. And like
Very true.
I'm assuming that Finn is going to be a big part of the series
Absolutely.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with his sister being the love interest. Absolutely. And just, you know, the way their gods are connected. You have to assume we're gonna see a lot of him.
I'm not
And
gonna lie. I genuinely thought when I was like part of the way through this book that the love interest was gonna be that guy that's in a coma in his house,
Oh.
and he was like following him around Nav, and I was like, oh, is this gonna be like a surprise queer? What is happening? Because the guy was just so friendly, and I was like, oh, okay. And
That's
then
funny.
and then I was like, oh, that makes more sense. Okay.
I didn't get that vibe, but
no, I wouldn't be surprised if Farhang sticks around. He
yeah.
spent too much time on the page to just disappear after a book or two.
Right. And
Yeah.
that is also go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I thought the same thing. And it's nice. You have a younger character who's probably going to go put some things into perspective, but it's also a good way to explain a lot of the world building to a character who's new to it all for the reader without it being hugely info dumpy.
I love their teen characters, honestly. I
They
think
they do teenagers well.
I don't know what I was saying. Does anybody know what I was saying?
I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you didn't. What were we talking about? My brain just
I was interrupted myself by an entirely different person. So
unbelievable.
I know. Darn
How dare
spouse cooking
people.
dinner.
Okay, I know what it was. It's just that a lot of times when they do introduce side characters like this, they do a good job of keeping them in the series and, you know, weaving them through, which is why you end up caring about them so much.
Yeah.
Oh.
I did find it interesting, and maybe it's the length of the book, that the entire thing takes place in either Roman's house or in Nav, because it's a very like for Ilona Andrews, that's a very contained story space for them. They're usually a little
just like 3 days or something, right?
Yeah, it's the 3 days of Christmas basically.
Right.
Well, no, they start
to
out
have on
3
vacation.
days. They start out 3 days from Christmas and end on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure they end on Christmas Eve.
They really kept it tight with
Yeah.
location and timeline.
Yeah, although I think
Which
it
works so well for the story.
Is it inferred that basically Finn is his like not underling, apprentice?
I think that we'll see him showing him the ropes quite a bit.
Because I was like, their gods are a married couple, so they're like very similar. He knows both of them.
But also
And
they
his mom was kind of like, haha, you don't have kids, but now you have a kid.
Good luck to you.
Yeah.
But like also they haven't eliminated the threat. So whoever was after Finn, they don't know why they were after Finn. They don't know who they are. And they don't really know the extent of their abilities. So yeah, Finn, like I would imagine big hijinks will.
Right.
Okay. As they try
I love when Finn was introduced to his goddess and Roman was like, she picked the pretty form, not the form of her like eating raw meat in her like whatever, looking like a bog witch or whatever. I was like, that's hilarious. I'm like, yeah, when you want someone to be on your side, you're gonna put your best foot forward.
Yes.
Roman, who realized he met a pretty girl in his like ratty old sweatshirt and slippers.
His Eeyore slippers.
The whole thing just went, Roman is a house hermit like the rest of us.
Right, exactly.
That's exactly
Relatable.
what
I would also love to have my lawn eat people. That would be exciting stuff.
would be so useful. So
Right.
handy.
Oh, that's great.
And even just the phrase when he says, "Oh, I'm just going to unroll the unwelcome mat."
Yeah.
Yes. I would like that.
Also, when he was knocked out and everything, and Finn was doing his best to protect him, and he also talked about how his staff was surprisingly tolerant of Finn.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's all good stuff too.
I also just like the moment before he went unconscious. He's like, "Nobody panic. I'll be back."
Yeah. And then he's like, "Oh, it'll just be an hour." And instead, they took him into
hours
to drag the tree again, and he was like, "This freaking tree!"
Yeah, hilarious.
I did like that. Yeah, and I like that at least they fixed the house. The gods fixed the house at the end.
Mm-hmm.
The lawn's a mess, but we can fix the house. That's fine.
Right.
We need somewhere.
The lawn's a mess, but a gift is a gift.
We'll take it. That's the Christmas gift.
I just, I can't wait for more. I need more.
Mm.
Though I did love how fast, because it was such a slow build of like this army of mercenaries, and then this army of mercenaries, and the second army of mercenaries. He had to take like a god's tier or whatever, and then at the end it's just like this massive monster, and that monster's dead in like 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tried too hard. Went too big.
Yep.
I liked it though.
Like I was just like, oh, massive monster. We're towards the end of the book, and then it's just like, and he shot it with an arrow, and it died. And I was like, oh, word, okay.
Well, part of that was because he'd resisted invoking Chernobog.
Because he was like, no, I made a vow, or I'm
not doing
my word. Yes,
like
I will not go back on this promise.
And then,
I will
damn
not
it,
go back on this promise.
This
I will leave you.
Like, damn it, I need you, and I'll pull the stupid tree. It's fine.
I'll pull your stupid tree. I'll continue to be your stupid priest.
I really like their relationship.
It's very good.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he's gonna do the thing, but he's gonna complain the whole way. But in
100%.
like, not in an annoying way either, just in a hilarious way.
Like, well, it's in the way of all frustrated adults everywhere. Are you kidding me? What do you mean?
Right.
I do. I love when his mom in Raven form is there, and he's like, "Oh God," and then she's just like, "Are you gonna come to Christmas?" And he's just like, "I am the void. I am nothing. I am peace."
Yeah.
You're 34. I can see your gray hairs. Where's my grandkid? I am peace. There is nothing in the void.
Yeah, I know.
It was so funny.
It was.
The longer that conversation went on, I was just in stitches.
Mm-hmm. The labor gets longer every year. Yes, that was so funny.
Exactly.
I was in labor with you for 2 days. It gets longer every time you say this.
So good. I want to see more interactions with him and his family because they
so
are.
funny.
I also liked at that point we didn't know why he didn't spend that holiday with his family. So you're like, okay, this is just the family being the family.
Right.
Yeah.
But really, like, there's so much more going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
It's still his anytime, because even in Kate Daniels, his interactions with his family is him just being utterly exhausted by his family.
Beleaguered.
Yes.
But I also like that when Evdokia is there, she's well, your father told me that he loved me. So clearly he's not in the right state of mind to have any conversation with you over this.
You're so funny.
It's so great.
You just want the
Just like
food.
When we
my
find out who
Doesn't
his
anyone
family
when you go
is,
to a family thing, you're there for the food?
yeah. I have a couple family gatherings that I'm like, I'm literally just here to get a lot of food in me and then leaving.
when we find out that his mom is his mom, isn't he like, doesn't he say something about how, like, even worse, we're gonna have to go to my mom or something like that?
I think, yeah, something, because
I mean,
we
I
met
don't.
him as a we didn't realize who his family was, and then
Right.
Isn't it that we don't realize who his family is until they have that big meeting with everyone and they're sitting
yes,
next to each other and they're
they're all
arguing?
sitting. I think
And
you're right.
and
Like,
Roman and so it was the one where they had the
it was
magical
when they were
box.
in they were in like this big diner, and it was like all the
Yeah.
groups were meeting together.
Okay.
There's
The moles were
there's
on
a
like one
magical
side,
device
and the
that
witches were
sucks
on the
them
other
up.
side.
Yeah. And they're
Okay.
just sitting there and his mother and father are just bickering and everyone walks in and like all the kids are just standing there behind their respective parents that they
Mhm.
work with.
And Roman is just like,
It's just like,
oh.
ugh.
And then Kate is like, what is happening? And then Roman's like, this is my mother and this is my father. And she's like, I'm sorry, what?
Say what now?
It's so good.
It's so funny.
Actually, that must have been the most recent graphic audio that came out because
Oh, okay.
I reread that recently. So which
Okay.
one is it?
I was like, how far are we in the graphic audios? I think are we on book like 6 or something?
Magic Slate? 5?
6 is Europe, isn't it?
Yeah, I
Oh,
think 6 is your. So I think we're
we're on
5.
5.
Yeah, because it's the one where that guy creates the thing that negates magic, and if you have your magic taken from you, you die.
Is
Mm,
that the one where
It's the one where the red guard hires Kate.
is that the one where she goes to the fancy restaurant with Simon?
No, is it? I thought that already happened in the series. I thought that was earlier.
No, he does that as payback because Curran destroys all the cars,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
and that's after maybe that's book 4. Anyway,
Is it Magic Bleeds that happens then?
He doesn't realize how much he's playing with his life with that one.
Yeah. All I remember is the big meeting with everyone is when they've got the magic eating box.
I think Andrea's book is 5.5. I feel like that.
According to Goodreads, there is Magic Mourns, which is Andrea 0.5.
Yeah.
And then Magic Dreams is 4.5, which is oh my god, what is his name? Jim's book. Thank you. And then Gunmetal Magic is 5.5.
Okay, that's Andrea's book.
Yeah.
This is the problem. All of the things start blurring together and they're all good, so it doesn't really matter.
I mean, it also doesn't help that when we read them, we tend to read them like this,
right,
immediately one after the other.
Yeah.
It's always fascinating to me when I reread an Ilona Andrews book. I remember so many, things about it, and then there's so much more that I forgot about. It's wild.
So I guess who just filmed her Why I Reread video this morning. It doesn't matter how many times I reread some books, and it's got nothing to do with being a fast reader and not reading everything on the page. There are just some things you pick up on the more you read a book.
Or if you like reread something, you get connections that you didn't get the first time.
Right.
You didn't
reveals,
Yeah, and it depends on, how you're feeling when you read the book as well, what you connect with most in the story and what sticks in your brain.
Right.
Because there in any of the books that I reread a lot, there's things that I go, oh yeah, this happens here and this happens here, whatever. And I go, but why is this in this book? because I clearly don't remember it.
Mm-hmm. I love rereading so much.
Me too.
Yeah.
Also, sometimes you just really like a world and you just want to go back into that world.
Right.
And they're not going to write anymore in this world.
Like,
Yep.
I understand the struggle, but I feel so bad for people who don't reread because they can never get to as many books as they want to. And it's like, but you're not going to get to all of them ever. No one is. So
Enjoy
rereading
what
is, yeah, it's an enjoyable reading experience. Isn't that ultimately the goal?
Yeah.
and
My
oh, you go, Megan.
and I was just gonna say y'all talk about like your break in case of emergency, like books or authors or whatever. And I can't run that risk. If I'm having an emergency, I'm doing a thing that I for sure love, which means I'm just rereading something that I already know I'm gonna like.
Yep.
Yeah. Like if I've had a terrible day, or if I can't make a decision, if I've got decision paralysis, or
Mhm.
if I'm feeling slumpy, I'm not going to pick something that I don't have any clue how I'm going to feel about it. I'm going to pick something I know how I'm going to feel about it. Otherwise, I might as well not read anything.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. And sometimes that can be another book from a repeat author that like
Yeah.
you know what you're getting with them. Yes, you haven't read this book
The
yet, but you know
formulaic ones, the ones that
exactly.
are
Right.
basically the same book over and over.
You know exactly what you're getting, but a lot of times it's just gonna be a reread completely.
How many times did I reread this before we did the live show? And I can tell you, it didn't
But
seem
at
like
least 4 audio.
it's 5. I read it 5 times. And it's great as an audio. It's a short audio. You can put it on while you're doing chores.
Right.
You just
To
have
the
the
story.
cognitive dissonance of Kate Daniels calling him Roman and here calling him Roman.
Yes.
And I was
Yeah.
like, no. He's
have to
been
now
Roman
reread.
for too long. He will not be Roman. He is Roman.
I know. I'm trying to make, and that's why I said like the pronunciation of things. I'm like, I've got to just try and keep it in my head, because otherwise I will revert back to everything else. But you just pick up on things, and it's like it's a fun story. It's a short story.
Right.
You've got 4 characters. There's enough balance between action and humor and poignant moments.
Right.
So why wouldn't I reread it a bunch?
I'm torn between starting the graphic audio for book 3 of Kate Daniels and not, because that's the book where Derek gets attacked, and I can't.
The audio for it's good.
Well, yeah, I assume, but still, I'm like, oh, but then I have to deal with the Derek thing, and it just makes me sad.
But get it done, and then you can go on to the next one. I was going to say something. Damn it.
We are in fine form today, y'all.
Oh, yeah, we are doing so well.
Right, we're thriving.
I have the new Nalini book. I think I'm saving it. Because I also have both Nalini's most recent books that I haven't read yet. I think I'm saving them.
Morgan from Lovely Reading, when she went to Steamulet, she took a couple of my Nalini books to get signed.
That was sweet.
Yeah, she was like, hey, if you have any books you want to get signed, here are the authors that are going. And so I did Rock Hard and I think one of her suspense books. I was like, here, can you get these signed? Because I have like random Nalini books. Like, I don't have any like of the Side Changeling stuff. So
yeah, I got Heart of Obsidian signed for Izzy last year, and like I only took 3 of mine because she was signed. She had said she'd sign any book that people bought, so people were bringing their entire collections. Well, I have to cart them around. So
I have Kiss of Snow, but I got it secondhand, and I was gonna get that one signed, and then I realized apparently it was a signed copy, so I bought like a $5 signed copy because no one checked, and I was like, that's cool. I was very happy.
Well, I am going to see her again next year. I think she's coming to one of the signings over here. So
nice.
I'll get to see her again. She's very, very lovely.
She looked lovely. Morgan had a picture. She had a picture of her holding up both my books, and I was like, so sweet.
That's nice.
That's sweet of her.
But yeah, look, if Ilona Andrews ever come over here, I don't care how much it costs. I'm going. And in that case, I'm like, yes, I'm going to bring your entire back catalog. I'm sorry in advance.
VIP.
Hey Steph, if we all fly in for the Melbourne Olympics in like 10 years, can we have a place to stay?
Why?
Well, I live in a one-bedroom apartment, but maybe we could Airbnb something altogether.
I think it's not this next Summer Olympics, but the Summer Olympics after that are in Melbourne, Australia.
Absolutely not.
Really? Didn't know. Okay.
You know how insane a city probably is when they're hosting the Olympics?
Oh, for sure.
I would rather die.
Also,
I lived through the Sydney Olympics. I was actually living in Sydney at that point.
Ooh, they just follow you. The Olympics just follow you wherever you go.
Please, no, thank you. Although
I also don't know what
Melbourne's
they did.
We already have the infrastructure for basically every sport here.
Yeah.
So it actually makes sense for us to host it because
I find it funny though that y'all are hosting the Summer Olympics because it'll be cold.
Can't do worse than that's true, actually. That's a good point there, Megan. They're in the wrong hemisphere for both Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? I don't know. You can't do worse than Paris.
I think they're going back to Salt Lake City for an Olympics, and I'm like, didn't we already do a Salt Lake City?
For why? I think that is a ridiculous choice, personally, but no one asked me, so.
Not this coming winter, but I think the next winter after that, they're in Nice. And I was like, weren't y'all just in France? We're currently in France.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we going back to France?
Yeah.
There are so many other countries. Oh, also, one of the Summer Olympics coming up is in LA. Who thought, yeah, let's have an Olympics in Los Angeles, California?
Doesn't LA already have enough traffic jams? Why are you adding more people to the mix?
There's so many people. I was like, there's going to be so many like Olympian scandals happening because it's LA. So there's going to be paparazzi everywhere. There's famous people everywhere. Like, even if the scandals aren't true, they're just going to like find themselves in trouble because it's Los Angeles.
Yeah. Look, ask me how much attention I've paid to the Olympics. If it pops up on my Instagram feed, maybe I see something.
Thank you.
And the only other thing that I saw originally, and I know there's a comment in our group chat that I need to address because apparently the Australians are complaining about being third in the medal tally. Whatever.
I was gonna bring that up at some point, but I've refrained.
Yeah, well, we've completely diverged off topic, so we might as well just continue talking about it. But my favorite thing was seeing people complaining about Australia winning so many medals in swimming. Like, we are an island nation. We start swimming from like 6 months onwards if you have parents who understand the concept of water safety. We have a lot of swimmers because it's like everyone does.
Australia got gold in the men's park skateboarding. I watched that one. I have Peacock, which is what the Olympics is streaming on. So it's like literally been on my second monitor in my office for the past week of just like whatever's on. So I got to see Tony Hawk open the like skateboarding competition, and then so Australia won first, and then Brazil got third, which was cool. America got second.
Yeah, I could tell you absolutely nothing. Occasionally, gymnastics and synchronized swimming somehow turn up on my feed. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Oh, the skateboarding, the guy who won skateboarding. When I think of like the quintessential Australian man, that is what it looks like. He is a tan with like blonde hair, blue eyes. All he needs is a surfboard, and it would be complete as the Aussie in my head. Instead,
nice to know where our athletes are keeping up with the stereotypes.
Yeah.
No, I have not laughed so hard as reading all of the Australian comments about why Australians are so good at swimming, because not a single one of them was, every single one of them was sarcastic. Like, we have to learn how to swim so we can swim away from the sharks.
That's funny. You think that means that y'all be better at boxing because you have to box the kangaroos?
Well, you'd think that, but apparently not.
I'm trying to think. I was like, what? Oh, Japan won breakdancing. This was the first year for breakdancing, which was very interesting. The entire time I was watching it, I was just like, I don't understand the scoring system in this.
Fair enough. Look, I think someone, I don't know if handball was part of it, but there was someone shared a video of handball. I'm like, I don't understand why this is a sport.
Oh yeah, I don't understand handball. I was trying to watch it and I was like, I don't know. Surfing, they were in Tahiti for surfing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The surfing was in Tahiti.
Okay. So what sport would Roman be competing in if he was in the Olympics?
Archery. His least favorite thing.
His least favorite thing. where he can just shoot his arrow and the entire board rots away so no one can tell what he scored.
Exactly. We were talking about this at work. They were like, what summer Olympic event could I start training for now and have a chance of competing in the next Olympics? Most of the female break dancers were in their like 30s. So I could train and be a female break dancer. To which my office mate went, based on what you told me on how well your ice skating lessons are going, I'm gonna say probably not. And I was like, wow, rude. We could do shooting or archery. Both of those are more like precision, not strength.
Yeah.
Tom Daly's in his 30s and he's still doing diving, so.
Actually, I do see a lot of Tom Daly content and he just seems like an adorable person.
So. I love Tom Daly. I've followed him since I think like before the last Olympics because he knits while he also he's married and his husband is adorable and they have 2 kids and their boys are adorable and I'm just like, love Tom Daly.
Yeah. That's the wholesome content that we want to see.
It is.
Professional athletes knitting at the Olympics and loving their families.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway.
One of the female sprinters, is an alum of the district I work for. And they had some of the races on today. And so they turned on like the TVs and I just heard my like deputy chief just being like, yeah, go, 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 like yelling across the hall.
Nice.
Oh yeah, there's a lady in table tennis.
That's amazing. And also the in the shooting, that whole contrast between the Gen X and the younger generations shooting just made me laugh.
It's been a fun Olympics. Oh my god. And then the women's water polo team is sponsored by Flava Flav. And he has committed to sponsoring both the men and women's water polo team for the next Olympics. So he's funding them up to like into the next Olympics because he's like no one appreciates like water polo. And one of the female athletes was like, if anyone can help, like we don't have the funding to get to like what we need to get to the Olympics. Yeah. And I guess Flava Flav saw it on Twitter and he was like, I got you, boo. And so now he's like funding the men's and women's for the next one. But for this one, he was funding the women's team.
That's cool.
And I was just like, this is the wholesome content I want. Freaking Flava Flav. Flavor of love, Flava Flav, sponsoring water polo, and all the water polo team was like surrounding him. So you just have this like gangster rapper just like in the center. It was so cute. I love it.
That's nice. Alrighty. I think we are.
Snoop Dogg was great, yeah. And then apparently Snoop Dogg's afraid of horses. So when he had to go like do the equestrian stuff, they had Martha Stewart with him for like more emotional support. This Olympics has been like just a lot of wholesome content in this Olympics. Yeah. And then Steve, the pommel horse kid, he won. He helped U.S. gymnastics win a medal in men's gymnastics. They haven't won one in like decades. And he's going viral because he's a super nerd. Like he Rubik's cubes before like events, and he has to take off his glasses to like do the pommel horse. And he's like, "Oh, I can't see anything." So after his routine, he was like, they gave him the score, and all of his teammates were like circling him and jumping, and he still hadn't have his glasses on. So he was like, "Did we win?" It was just so cute.
No, there are nice things that come out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right. So what are our odds on a new Ilona Andrews book, either Wilmington Years or Roman Chronicles in the near future? I know they're unwell.
I'm really hoping that in the second half of the year we get something. I don't care if it's even just a short, like a on their website short story. I just hope we get something within like the next half of the year.
Yeah. Also, this would be awesome as a graphic novel adaptation. Just
It
with all the
would
visuals.
be. It would be great.
Like Clean Sweep is good for a graphic novel adaptation, but I think this one would be as well.
I need to read the Clean Sweep graphic novel.
It's good. I've got to pre-order the next one. Hello, Heather.
Hello again.
I was so happy. The refugee Olympic team has 3 medals, I think, so far. I was like, oh yay.
Excellent. All right. Do we have anything else to say on the topic of Sanctuary? Since we're
it was a good book. Read it if you haven't. I don't know why anyone would be watching this if they haven't read it yet, but
loved it. I want more.
same.
Yeah.
That's my main takeaway. It was great. It was just as good as I expected.
Mm-hmm.
I know. It was just what I needed at the end of July. Like it was literally the little bright spot.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to it. It was nice to have basically a guaranteed win with a book.
Yeah. 100%.
All right.
Alrighty.
Let's let Heather rest.
Yeah, Heather needs a break. So we'll reconvene whenever we have another book, whenever that is.
Whenever another book comes up eventually.
Hopefully before 2026.
I know. Yeah, that would be nice.
That's the only one.
Well, the Clean Sweep the second graphic novel comes out. Is it the end of the year? That's the next one.
I don't know when that comes out.
Unless it's been pushed back. I thought it was the end of the year. Anyway.
Yeah, look.
Yeah. Anyway, have a good night or a good day, everyone. And we will talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.